Welcome to the Woman of Wellness podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Dahl, and we are women working together to achieve our best health. I am talking today all about commitment and what it means to be committed to your health goals. Before we jump into that, I want to let you know that if you want deeper dives, more content, more strategy, more motivation and support, make sure you're on our newsletter. We go deeper. All you have to do is go to awomanofwellness.com/newsletter. And we have lots of guest experts coming on this show, sharing their expertise with us. And we are housing a lot of extra special masterclass type content, in-depth training, step-by-step strategy, tactical information with these experts in our masterclass vault. So if you want to get on the wait list for that to know when it opens up, get yourself on the wait list, awomanofwellness.com/masterclass. And I just have one more announcement and then we'll jump in. I still have a couple spots open for one-on-one VIP coaching. If you struggle with your relationship with food, you're binging, you're overeating, you're struggling to find the balance with food, you struggle with your relationship with your body, it's painful and you're just struggling in that arena and you're having a hard time creating consistent habits and losing the weight that you want, I'd love to work with you one-on-one. You just go to awomanofwellness.com/coaching to apply. We'll hop on a call together and talk about what you want to work on and if coaching is the right fit for you. So thanks for letting me share those updates. Let's jump into the episode. Okay, my friends, let's talk about commitment. Okay. I wanted to start with a little bit of a personal story about a goal that I have been working on for a really long time. And I would say it's something that I'm committed to, right? I am committed to a successful outcome of this goal. But as I go throughout, my approach and my level of investment and all of that, it can fluctuate. Okay. So this is really important to understand because I want you, before we even jump into talking about commitment, take a minute to feel what this statement makes you feel. If someone was going to say to you, committed no matter what, you've got to be committed no matter what comes to mind? Or what feelings do you feel inside your body? For me, it feels like a lot of pressure, right? This idea of like, okay, I'm committed no matter what. Or it sort of feels like this unhelpful, okay, what does that mean? Because I know that when I get in that mindset, we get stuck, right? We get stuck in that all or nothing thinking. Okay, I'm all in or I'm all out, right? I've got to be all in. I've got to be committed 100%. And what happens, and I don't know if you were feeling those feelings and those emotions, but what happens is that guilt and shame cycles just start repeating themselves because we get in our mind that commitment equals perfection. Commitment equals inflexibility, right? Lack of flexibility here. I'm committed. This is what I'm going to do no matter what happens, right? And I think sometimes we get really afraid to even commit because of the fear of that word and the fear of the ramifications. And especially if you have a history and you've struggled with the commitments that you've made to yourself in the past, right? So today, my goal is to help you redefine commitment and soften it a little bit for you and help you strategize and come up with your commitment statements, your level of commitment, your pursuit of commitment in your health and wellness. Let's talk about it. First of all, we're redefining here. We need to know what we are committed to. And I want you to think big picture here, okay? This is big picture. We can go smaller as we, narrow it down, but big picture, what are you committed to? We're looking kind of for a general statement. And if you don't have one, I'll give you one. It's pretty simple. I'm committed to living as a woman of wellness. So this is big, big picture here, right? I am committed to living as a woman of wellness. Well, what does that mean to me? And when we understand that blanket phrase, it helps us make all the little choices, right? If I'm committed to living as her, then I choose this. And what happens from there is that commitment becomes a practice. And if you've ever heard the saying, practice makes better, I know there's practice makes perfect, but practice makes better, right? And so practice isn't perfect. Practice is what perfects your art. And so if we can look at commitment as a practice, I am committed to living a lifestyle of a woman of wellness. And that means this. I have, an active lifestyle, and I honor my body with good nutrition, and I support my whole body with sleep and stress relief, right? I'm committed to that. And because I'm committed to it, I am implementing a practice or several practices or habits that will help me live that way. And I think just that one shift softens the word commitment a little bit. Not softens it that you're not committed, but it softens it and it makes it feel more tangible, more attainable for us. When we do this, then what we learn is that it's more important to focus on the process than the outcomes. Because the process is what brings us the outcomes. And we want to be living as that woman of wellness, right? And when we're doing those things, those are the things that's what we're committed to, right? We're committed to living this lifestyle. Maybe we say, I'm committed to losing weight, or I'm committed to finding a happy relationship balance with food. And these are the things that I'm working on to do that so that I can say I have a happy balance with food. Okay? So that's the lifestyle. What does commitment look like with goals? It's similar, right? It's the same idea, big picture, but more specific. Okay. We've got our big picture. I want to live as a woman of wellness. What does this mean? Well, I have some goals that I'm working on. Sometimes they're time bound, but I am a huge believer that we should not put unnecessary time pressure on ourselves. This is really important. Do not put unnecessary time pressure on yourself. Okay? Life happens. Goals are a work in progress. Goals have bumps. You can still be committed to a goal and not go to the gym one of those days. You can still be committed to a goal and maybe have a day where you overeat. Because the saving grace, I guess, is resiliency. Being able to come in and say, I see what happened. I see what got me a little bit off course. This is a good opportunity to bring me back to my level of commitment, right? Oh, I didn't quite get up early enough to go to the gym today. What do I need to do? I need to redirect. I need to probably go to bed a little bit earlier tonight so that I can get up tomorrow. Commitment allows for us to rebalance, redirect. And we should expect some mistakes. So when we have in our mind that commitment equals perfection, it doesn't allow room for development, right? For improvement. Okay, let's talk about, I got a little sidetracked there, but what does it look like with goals? Sometimes, like I said, it is time bound. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into my life. I signed up to do a Spartan race in July, which is 6 months from now. And this has kind of been a goal of mine for a long time. It's a very difficult obstacle course type race. They have rope climbing and wall climbing and heavy things to carry and running and burpees. And it's a pretty big fitness event. And I feel like I'm in a place of my life where I'm ready to commit to that, and I'm really excited. That is a commitment to a particular outcome, right? And I'm going to be committing a little bit differently in the next 6 months. So it's not going to be perfect until then, right? My commitment is not perfect until then, but my commitment right now is I'm getting into the gym a little bit more. That's what I'm committed to. When I get closer to the race, my commitment is going to be a lot more rigid, a lot more structured. I'm training more specifically for that event. And so my commitment levels, I guess we would say the commitment to the race is there, right? I paid for it. I said I'm going to do it. And then the process that I take is what outlines the commitment or what creates that commitment. I hope I'm making sense here, okay? Other times we have just a lifestyle of health and wellness. I'm committed to living this lifestyle. And these are the choices that I've made, right? That I make for health and wellness and feeling better and being able to show up better and feeling better in my body and all of that. That's commitment, right? It's commitment to say, I'm going to try to learn how to support my body in these ways. I'm going to learn how to eat mindfully so I don't overeat. I'm going to learn about macronutrients so that I know how to get the right nutrition for my body. I'm going to learn how to strength train so I can support my body. That's commitment. That's a commitment you just made. And then maybe another level of commitment is, okay, I learned how to strength train. Now I'm going to take it to the next level and actually start implementing it. Or I had someone write me a program, or I learned the form, or I hired a trainer, whatever. That was a commitment for me. And so now I get to take it to the next level because my overall theme is I am committed to my body's health and wellness, right? I'm committed to living as a woman of wellness. I've heard this strategy before, and you can take it or leave it, but I've always heard that you should set goals higher than you can achieve. Maybe not all of your goals, but when you set goals that are higher than you can achieve, it actually helps you show up in a higher way. So I'll have to admit, sometimes it feels like the Spartan is a little bit, it's a big one for me. I've never done a pull-up or climbed a rope. I don't think, even as a kid, like that was just not the thing. Like I can run and I can lift weights, but I am going to need to learn some things that I have never done before. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to learn it. My gym doesn't have a rope. But I set that goal because I want to push myself. And I know that I will not complete every obstacle on that race. That it's just reality, right? There are going to be some obstacles that I fail at. Everyone at that race probably will do the same, right? And we'll have to do a bunch of burpees. But I'm setting these goals that are lofty because they're helping me show up in a higher way. And I'm telling you that from the minute I clicked purchase on that race sign up, what's the word I'm looking for? Something shifted in me. The transformation begins with the transaction. And it could be a financial transaction. It could be a time investment, right? It could be an energy investment or transaction. And so it's been really cool because my gym time has a purpose now. It's a little bit more directed for me. And it helps me show up a little bit better, a little bit higher than I normally would if I'm like, oh, I'm just exercising to live a healthy lifestyle, which works great, right? And then we implement some of these goals, which allow us to show up in a higher way. That's what commitment looks like. We're creating a baseline of commitment. I'm committed to living my life as a woman of wellness. And then I choose other things to commit to push me a little bit more. And at the core of it all, that's the commitment here, right? I know that me committing to a Spartan race is going to make me stronger and better, both physically and mentally. I know it's going to take some mental toughness to get through that race too, especially because it's in the middle of July. And I think my start time is at noon or 12:30. So it's going to be hot. I'm going to have to work through a lot of things. And so just know that there's different levels of commitment to certain things but that overall idea of I'm committed to this and I'm not committed to doing it perfectly, but I'm committed to keep showing up. I'm committed to not giving up on it. And finally, the most important part is insert compassion and flexibility into this whole thing. Be compassionate with yourself. Sometimes we jump the gun and we try to do something before we're ready, right? I have set a few goals to do pull-ups over the years, and for whatever reason, I wasn't interested. But I kind of kept setting the goal because I felt like I had to. But now I have a bigger reason to maybe work on that, right? Or an exciting reason. Or if you're in a season of life where, you're busy and weight loss doesn't seem quite as reasonable right now, but guess what you can do? You can rely on your big picture commitment that, hey, I'm committed to living as a woman of wellness. That doesn't stop me from being mindful at my meals. Just because I'm not in a weight loss committed goal doesn't mean I'm not committed, right? It's a different level of commitment. So as soon as you change that mindset to say, I'm committed to my health and wellness, right? I'm committed to showing up as a woman of wellness, you start to make changes. And some of those changes are really simple. They just take quick observations, right? Quick, pay attention, acknowledging things, becoming aware of things, right? Oh, I could add more vegetables to my plate. I want to get on a walk after lunch each day. Like that would be a really great way to show my commitment that I'm committed to moving. And then maybe for a season, I say, hey, I am going to commit to a weight loss goal. And that's going to require me to push a little bit harder. And isn't it so cool that because I've already committed to my health and wellness, I already have some of these strategies. I already have some of these habits that I've been working on. And now I can push it a little bit harder. Okay. So that's a little bit of a scenario, right? Of what you can do to commit to your health and wellness this year and beyond, right? Our goal is big picture here, living that lifestyle. What might that look like for you? So here's your takeaway, your action for the day, okay? It's simple. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? And what does it look like for me to be committed? So maybe you're in a season where I want to baseline commit to living a lifestyle of a woman of wellness. And what does that mean to me? Right? We have to define what that means. What do I want out of that? And then what does it look like for me to be committed? I listen to the podcast and I take action on the one thing that they talk about. Or I sign up for the newsletter and I read it each week and I take action, right? Or I learn from the guest experts. I go deeper in one area and I practice it, right? Or I start changing things in my home, in my cooking and all of that. What do I want? What do I want to do? And what does it look like for me to be committed? Maybe you have that level of commitment to your health and wellness. Maybe you have some pretty healthy habits in your life, and it might be time to up level, right? And to say, is there something that might push me to become better, to improve? How cool would that be? And if you're doing that, I'm working on it right alongside with you, and it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to set some goals, to work on them. But just know that commitment does not have to be a scary word. It doesn't have to invoke feelings of pressure. Committed no matter what. I would tell you that I'm committed no matter what to my health and wellness. That doesn't mean I show up perfectly. But I do my best because I'm committed. And when I screw up, I get back on track because I'm committed. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we're going for here, right? Is we're committed and we're constantly making choices to rebalance, right? Recommit, realign. I've heard the phrase, balance is not a noun, it's a verb. You're constantly trying to create what you need for balance. And I think this is a good description for commitment, right? It's a verb. It requires you to recommit when you get off track. And you should get off track because commitment is a skill. Being resilient is a skill. Realigning yourself with that commitment is going to be a game changer for you. Okay? So you've got your action. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter. The link is in the bio, or not in the bio, in the show notes. Where am I? Podcast. And I will be sending more tips and more things about commitment and deeper dives and stuff like that in our newsletter. So just go to awomanofwellness.com/newsletter. And we'll be chatting a little bit more. I'll have some resources for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back next week with another episode.